With the new Dilated Peoples Project 2020, the crew continued the tradition of classic no-frills hip-hop, straight MCing and DJing, steady.
With this particular one, with every one we're in a different place, and every one we're feeling different things, so it's gonna express differently. I mean, I think this one was a really focused piece and really, I don't know, I guess down to earth, in the sense that it's just where everything is. 2020 is about perfect vision, so it's just seeing clearly, and I think this record's about focus. So it's definitely a continuation, but it's its own thing also.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely a continuation, and I also think it's kind of like almost like full circle. You know what I mean? Like we picked up off the Neighborhood Watch, but moving in that circle, coming back around, it's almost like it's connecting back to the platform. How everything kind of comes back around, so to speak. And I just think it's kind of like a back to square one record. That's my feeling on it.
Every song has a story behind it, and we wanted to find out the science on a few of the Dilated songs. First up, the jump-off single, Back Again.
Alchemist called me and was like, I made this beat for you. And normally when we get beats from Alchemist, we listen through CDs, you know what I mean? But he was like, I made this for you. Please listen to it carefully. If you don't like it, I'm sending it to Joel Santana because I know he'll listen to my tracks right now because he's doing an album. And I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to it carefully. You know what I mean? Because he was already telling me, like, anytime someone says, take it or else, you're going to be like, well, why is he saying that? So I got the track in the mail, and he had that sample Back Again. Well, not even a sample, actually. That's the crazy thing about Pro Tools, but it sounds like a sample. And I called Rocka and Babu, and I was like, I shot them the idea over the phone, and they were with it. So I just kicked one verse, and then when they got back, they helped fill it in, and really, the cuts really brought the whole song together. And Rocka's verse really, we kind of found the strategy of how to rewind the first line and stuff. That song was a no-brainer, easy, done.
Next is Firepower, featuring reggae legend Capleton.
I've definitely always understood that, a big part of hip-hop culture is the sound system culture of Jamaica. And when I was talking to a friend of mine, this cat K Salam, who was doing a mixtape at the time, he was telling me he did a song with Capleton, and I just happened to mention I was a big fan, and maybe a couple weeks later I get a call from, he puts me in touch with Claudette Kemp, who was his manager, and basically from there we got the particular track, the rhythm, and Ev took it to, him and Porus and Babu, put it all together and sent it out to Capleton. He was feeling it, so he happened to be doing a U.S. tour, few spot date tour. I met him in Chicago. We set up a mobile studio at his hotel and just party, just chilled, ate, worked on the music, went to his show and vibed out, and then we took all the tracks back to L.A. and set up in 2 different studios over a couple of days, and just that's what came out of it, man. Firepower, the tables after time.
The funniest part about that song, in my opinion, is that and Rocka had been up for like 24 hours straight up, like the night before at the studio, trying to figure out how we're gonna put all this together because Capleton gave us so much material to sift through. We just like overwhelmed. And I remember I left about 4 a.m. I'm gonna get 2 or 3 hours sleep, and I called back after I got up and they were still there. You know what I mean? At the studio, and I was like, and Rock was just crazy. And I was like, you know what? I gotta go mix this record, and you ain't even put your rhymes down yet. You know what I mean? And he's like, just go do it. It'll be there before the song is done. So, and we had, I think it was about 5:10 or 5:15, and we had to print at 6 o'clock. And that fool Rocker shows up. Get me in the booth. Did the in like 2 takes, 1 take. And we printed it and mixed it. We didn't even go to the car. Everything goes to the car. We didn't even have time. But that song just got printed right at the last minute. I mean, we just made the deadline.
Lastly is the joint, which is going to be their next single, You Can't Hide, You Can't Run.
We're rewinding the clock a little bit. We really weren't sure with our situation with Capitol or EMI Worldwide. So that was I put that beat together for kind of like a solo thing I was thinking about, and I had it sitting around for a long time. I showed it to a lot of people who got passed up on a few times, and I took it back to these guys, and they were feeling it. So that's the beauty of being in a group, man. It's just like I said before. I thought You Can't Hide, You Can't Run was gonna be kind of pretty, because you can't hide, you can't run. And Rocket comes in any day, your last day, Mike. So you can't hide, you know what I mean? Like it was like. wow, it just put in a different twist on it, and if I had done it, I might have taken it in a different direction. So that's just the dope part about being in a group with somebody is we bounce ideas off, and certain things that I might have thought would go this way end up going this way, or we find a mutual meeting point. And then on top of it all, I think Babu just falls into that song incredibly. He has the intro and the outro. It's like his own verse, and just showcasing his ability. I think on this record, when we say Babu's the best, you can see why we're saying that this time.